Hello everyone and welcome back to Neo Racing League Division Alpha Season 5. We are here for the Mystery Grand Prix, which is a race where we decide get surprise all the drivers with what circuit they will be racing at tonight. A little bit of querying about the circuit. It's track record of 1:16.3. It's the third time it will ever hold the circuit. I'll hold a race in Neo. The first time it will not feature with a sprint format and may or may not be a hometown of a driver tonight. I'm not sure which one it is. But it's been held twice with sprint races. The first season was held had an ex-driver from Portugal win both races, and then the sprint race was won, and the GP season in the following season was won by ex-Merc drivers. But anyway, I'm your commentator, James Jackson, and I'm joined by a man who some say can sleep upside down and can speak to polar bears. All we know is he's called APF Stig. How you doing, my friend?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Please do not speak any other language. I can barely speak English today. So, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here. Are you excited for today's race?
Yeah, why not? Mexico can provide some interesting races. Not all the time, but sometimes can. Big DRS straight that promotes quite a bit of overtaking. Sometimes people can manage some moves in the early stages of Sector 2. It'd be interesting to see what the drivers can do tonight.
Yeah, that's actually kind of the perfect transition, because I was about to transition over to the track map as well.
Hey,
So there we go. Like I say, we're racing
that's why we planned it.
Yeah, it's almost like we planned. Yeah, we definitely didn't. That was just kind of luck. So like today, we are at the Mexico GP, and we will be fighting around the 2.6 mile circuit with 17 corners, 7 to the left and 10 to the right, with 3 DRS zones completing the circuit. As we will be getting into qualifying very shortly, but we first off have a couple of things to talk about. Previous race results. We had a sprint race in Miami last week where we saw Alex Carragher take victory ahead of Alfred and Gary Gator, while Formula Leon and Funny Way A Band also scored points in that sprint race, rounding out that top 5. In the main race though, we see Alfred take victory 11.7 seconds clear of Alex Carragher in the Ferrari, while Formula Leon sits in 3rd. Gary Gator finishing 4th ahead of Funny Way Band again in 5th, while Extreme Enigma and the Healer finished 6th and 7th. Sluz Khan finished in 8th ahead of J Hydronics and Marchmeister, who rounded out the top 10. This leaves us with the driver standings looking a bit like this. Alex Carragher leads the standings on 100 points exactly, 14 points clear of Formula Leon and a further 6 points clear of Alfred. That is our championship battle as things stand at the moment. Speed Queen, who is no longer here, currently sits 4th in the standings after slowly dropping down the standings in the last couple of weeks, while Gary Gator sits in 5th on 58 points. J Hydronics now sits in 6th place ahead of ART Optic, who is no longer here as well, while Funny Wave Band, Kevin Cow and Marchmaster round out the top 10. The constructor standings looks a lot closer, while Red Bull lead the way on 113 points ahead of Sauber on 110. Haas on 106 and Alpine on 102, just 11 points separating the top 4 in constructors, all while Ferrari and RB begin to close in on 61 and 59 points respectively. McLaren sit on 38 points and ahead of Mercedes and Aston Martin, while Williams, yet to score, are down in 10th. With that in mind, we are into qualifying, and I'd love for the game to actually just work on my stream. There we go. And we see a couple drivers currently out on track. Alfred goes to set the fastest time with a 15.4, a 16.1 for Funny Way Band and a 16.2 for Formula Leon. At this point for these drivers though, it is just a bit of a opportunity to get themselves a feel for the track, with only 11 drivers in the session at the moment. We're looking to get a couple more to join before the race starts. We have Q2 to go through before we go into our top 10 shootout, with one driver being eliminated in this session. But if you are in this session, you kind of are at the top end of the field. What are you kind of looking for in this kind of Q2 session, Stig? Are you kind of thinking, well, I've got to go, I'm more likely going to go to Q3. Do I use it as a practice session to try things, or do I just use it as a chance to build up confidence, especially as no one knew what circuit this was going to be?
Does my mic work? There it is. Let's be honest. In my past, I've used all of my qualifying sessions as practice sessions. I don't, and well, my few, my latter seasons of League Racing, I don't think I ever did a practice session. It was fully qualifying. But yeah, a lot of these drivers would be a case of, getting the grips of the track, getting grips with the conditions, because that can change a lot between sessions. And depending on how the game's weighted in. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of familiarization, let's call it. Probably this session. You just see currently riding on board with Gary Gaither, and he's just gone very deep into after the last DRS zone in Sector 3. So Gary's someone who definitely needs a bit of familiarization, sliding around the last corner as well. That's not going to be a great lap from him, let's be honest. Yeah, so the probability here, you're going to get into Q3 unless you absolutely screw it up. So yeah, just if it was me, I'd just chuck some softs on. I'd go for 4 or 5 laps, and then you set up for Q3, go for pole.
Yeah, that's true. And also, you could really use this if you know you're going to get through. You could kind of use this as an opportunity to fuel up the car for an extra couple of laps and see how the softs run during in a couple lap window in that sense, because you'll be able to use that idea for the race if there is a later safety car, early safety car, or just implement it into your strategy. So especially considering these drivers would not have done practice for this circuit. I can't lie. If I was going for a mystery GP, I would not have thought it would have been Mexico, in one sense of the word. But these guys could use this as an opportunity just to get used to what the tyre wear's like, what the track conditions are like, what sort of strategy they could use. Because you can do a lot of drivers usually have a set of medium tyres as well in this session, depending on the tyre allocation they choose. So they could use that as an opportunity to kind of work out what sort of strategy they can really optimize early on. But it is also a little bit it could ultimately end up with them not with the quickest of times, and could lull them into a false sense of security.
One thing that the drivers are not going to know is ERS management as well. So they could potentially use their cooldown lap as a little bit of an idea as to how they're going to recharge. As we see Funny Wave Band retiring from the session, fairly confident they're through. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because recharge on different circuits, and considering the length of circuits as well, is very, very different. And you've got to bear in mind in this game the reduced harvesting thing after a certain portion of braking, throttle application, etc. The reduced harvesting stops you harvesting under braking by towards the back end of the laps normally. So that's another thing drivers will have to take into account, is how early on does that harvesting come into play, especially for Q3. Because if you want to go for have an opportunity at a double run and you make a mistake late on to a run, you want to know how long it's going to take you to recharge that battery, whether you'll have to do 2 laps or whether one will just be about okay. Everyone now is coming out the pit to do any final sort of running. We've got currently Marchmaster sitting down in P11 and coming out the pits, I believe. Yeah, he's coming out the pits now. With just 15 seconds really to spare in that sense. He'll need to get a move on, because otherwise he'll not be able to set a lap time.
Yeah, I mean, one and done is what it's going to be for March.
I think that's around a circuit I really wouldn't like to one and done. There's some circuits we think you can probably get away with a one and done, like Bahrain or potentially even Abu Dhabi, or just there's Salosa, other circuits you could probably get a one and done and be completely fine. But around a circuit with the type of corners you have, with the chicanes, the S's, the exit of the entry into the final, penultimate corner technically, going into the final corner, the way you try and approach that is to go as wide as possible. You don't want to go onto that white line too far and then cause that to invalidate your lap. But you really want to leave yourself a little bit of room, especially early on. and knowing that if you get eliminated from this session, you're the only driver that's not going to have the extra 12 minutes of not just practice but confidence build in a track like Mexico, which can be crucial because it's not exactly a circuit where people consistently race around.
How about Monaco?
Oh yeah, Monaco. I mean, a lot of drivers were predicting a Monaco race this week, but and also a lot of people predicting Brazil or Cota or all sorts of other circuits. And we've landed in on the highest altitude circuit on the calendar, March, going through the first chicane now, and lining himself up to end sector 1 with what will be a 28.7 in the first sector. Now he's got to go through sector 2 and 3 and just try and get a lap in. Better than an Extreme Enigma of a 17.4. Those are the only 2 drivers that can be eliminated now. March and Extreme Enigma. Well, or Extreme Enigma, sorry. As Extreme Enigma in the pits currently. And March currently on a lap, but never mind, March going very, very wide and then invalidates. So that confirms that one. And that is March Meister out of the session, leaving us with the 10 drivers going forward and an opportunity for these drivers to fight over pole. And that is session done for it, really. And I think we've got a couple other drivers coming in. I wonder if I have any information. Yeah, we've got a couple of drivers currently we're waiting on. I think we've got Alex Carrico joining, should have joined by now, and then Smoko Bot is having problems with his Xbox, so we'll see whether they both are definitely in by the end of it. So with that in mind, we are now going to go into Q3, and Alfred has kind of set the pace with a 15.4 and a 16 ahead of a 16.0 for Gary Gator. That is, again,
did that straight out of the box as well. I
think
I've only done 1 lap to get that in.
Yeah, he hasn't really gone another lap, I don't remember. But
No, I don't think he did.
No, and also with Alfred, he's very, very quick on 1 lap. He's like Shoot last season. Shoot Fizzle last season was very quick in qualifying, but his race pace seemed to close up towards Gary and Speed Queen. But Alfred kind of doing the same in a sense, but to even more of an extreme than what Shoot was doing. Alfred
did 2 laps.
I did he 2 too. Okay, so
did 2 laps.
Yeah, and there is probably grip improvement and room for improvement in that one, if anything, for him. So we'll see if
Gary managed to hook a lap up together. I have a feeling that lap for Gary, he looked very sideways into turn 1. So
was that his 16.0
Gary's
lap?
got a bit of time there.
Was that his 16.0 lap, or was that his second lap?
16.0 that was.
Yeah,
that was his. That 16.0 was his quickest, but he was very sideways into that turn 1 because I was watching. I was on board through sector 1. But not as sideways as March. And you see what happened to March. He ran off the track completely in sector 2. That sector can be quite lethal if you haven't got the right setup.
And that's why we say always do a lap early in the session and get a lap in, which is more than anything. But we'll see whether that has any bearing. So we've now got 10 drivers out on track for the final 12-minute session. It's now who has built our black confidence in those first 15 minutes. Has anyone going to go near Alfred? Or
that was interesting.
That's interesting from the game, and again, a bit of an
that was interesting again. I've never seen that in the game.
Yeah, they're getting I mean, a rarity. The game simulates pit lane realism with them all filing out and getting caught with each other.
Yeah. If they can smash each other into the wall, it might add even more realism.
Yeah, I mean,
look at this absolute gaggle. In sector 1 right now, we've got 4 cars all in one place. That's not where you want to be, boys.
No, and this is going to really affect their outlaps as well, because some of them are going to have to slow up or go quicker just to get themselves away from this pack, and it's going to cause them a lot of issues because they've got half a lap to sort it out, and they're not going to be able to get their tyre warming or their themselves prepared properly
the
for a flying run.
Right idea.
Yeah, the McLarens have just got on with it, but they're both still very close, and they've only really got about half a sector to sort it out, if anything, because
those
going to get the top, allow the tyres to get really cold if they have to back off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's too late in the lap now. The McLarens are quite clearly going to tow each other.
Yeah.
Fair strategy. They were on the second row in Q2, I think they were. At worst, they were fourth and fifth. So his options here. In fact, Funny Waveband's just really backed off from Constant Soda. So that's actually going to put back the Alpines, which would have probably caught them out a little bit. Fastest sector from Bell, I think that was. I just saw flash up on my screen.
Yeah, he's invalidated.
He's the rest of them.
He's invalidated anyway. So Alfred, he's also going through the same passive Zeus. They're all starting their laps now, apart from J Hydronics, and they're all just going to go round. They all got now. They've kind of got themselves a little bit of a gap, but around the circuit around here, if they start to find themselves closing up to anyone who's in front of them, they're going to start to feel that dirty air effect a little bit, especially on a game that's now more heavily focuses on dirty air in comparison to 24.
It's a big effect here as well, because ideally you'd like a tow into up until the end of sector 1, but if you're still following and you're following too close in sector 2, you lose way too much time. Funny Waveband is carrying the fastest sector 1 right now, I believe. But I don't think they are in sector 2, so it's going to be interesting to see these sector times.
Yeah, I think it'll be very, very interesting. A 15.2 from Alfred, a 15.7 from Funny Waveband, 16.6 from Constant Soda. Who's going to jump up next? Gary Gator of a 15.2 as well. Both of them in the 15.2s. Gary has decided to go and give Alfred a real big run for his money. Who's going to be next across the line? It will be Formula Leon of 15.6. He's only a couple temps off. So now J Hydronics and Burl are the only two drivers yet to set a time. But Gary has really started to put it on, and Jay's Hydronics has now lost out on his lap, so he'll have to go again with that invalidation. Another invalidation for Burl, so that leaves them both down at the back of the order in terms of qualifying with just 7 minutes and 50 to go.
So Alfred is quicker than Gary Gator in sector 1 and 2, only losing out in sector 3, but by a fair margin, almost 2/10. Gary Gator actually gains in sector 3.
Yes,
Gary can hook up sector 1, or has Gary got a teammate?
He would have had to shoot.
No, he doesn't. Okay, if Gary had a teammate, that could be very, very useful right now.
Yeah, so he really needed that in this situation to give him a bit of a tow. But I'm surprised at Burl if didn't give Alfred any sort of tow, to be honest, in this opportunity, because it would have given Alfred a bigger margin. But at the moment, Burl's now without a lap time, so will not be able to do anything in the order to help Alfred towards that front. Towards the front, really, keeping that pole position, if anything.
This is interesting. We're seeing the McLarens going straight for another lap, but this time swapped. So it seems that Constant Soda has given the service to Funny Waveband, giving him a bit of a tow, and this time it's Funny Waveband's turn to repay the favour. Doesn't look like that's a quicker sector 1 though for Constant Soda, unless you saw otherwise.
I didn't see for Soda, and Funny Waveband definitely wasn't quicker. So
yeah,
I feel like the tyres are going to go.
To be honest, boys, I think you want to chuck on a new set of tyres. I don't think these tyres will last more than one flying lap.
Yeah, so that's good. No,
there's a lot of lateral load going through them in sector 2. And in fact, Soda's just struggling a little bit in sector 2. Luckily kept out of the wall, but yeah, suffered the overheating rear tyres.
He almost couldn't get into first there. He almost got rolling back into the wall there. But well, he's continued on, and we've now got the opportunity for a couple other drivers to go through and have a bit of a cleaner run with an invalidation for Formula Leon, who was up on his time in sector 1. But at this stage, you kind of are pushing the boundaries, but you really want to find those extra hundreds, those extra thousandths now, and just try and find out what you're doing wrong in comparison to your rivals. We know we've already spoke about Alfred and Gary Gator in comparison. Formula Leon a couple temps further back over them, but certainly can find his way towards them if he can just find the pace in the areas where he is weakest.
The Hydronics supposedly 3.5 seconds up on this current lap, but still sliding around a lot. Seems like a lot of these drivers haven't had a time to perfect their setups, and there goes 16.8 into 6 just behind the two McLarens. We're seeing the cars coming out onto the track now, so we'll see the second run start to happen. I'll chuck a question to you this time. So right now we're seeing, Alfred, Gary, Leon of Honey Wave Band. Would you be pushing for pole right now, or would you be hoping to get something like second row? Thinking about the fact it's the longest run to turn one. What do you reckon?
To me, I would honestly take second row, because if I would be happy with pole, because those extra meters, yes, but that slipstream into turn one, and if that front row doesn't get the greatest of starts and you get a good launch, that could be the most crucial thing into turn one. And that slipstream is powerful enough, especially on lap one. With all that's going on, the drivers might not be fully focused on defending from one particular driver, and that's where you can take the advantage. So the second row, it seems like, for me, I would take that. What about you? What would you take?
It's a difficult one, because if you have a bad start and you're on the second row, you're in an even worse position. And just to talk about current situation, Alfred has put himself in a position to get a slipstream off of the Red Bull of Slush Khan.
Slush Khan.
Don't see that name
I
before.
don't know.
But yeah, so Alfred's put himself in a good position to try and get the upper hand on Gary. But yeah, so it's a really difficult one, because you want to be as far forward as you can. You want to try and go for pole, because you try and hope to be for second to fourth. Any of those positions, ideal. And purple sector for Alfred into sector 1. And still with that slipstream off of the Red Bull, but coming into that critical time now of sector 2, can they hold the car together and maintain grip? Looks like they've got the car pretty planted, so it looks like they've got a pretty good setup, but they're going to get holed up in sector 3 now. The fastest sector 2, 2.5, nearly 3 tenths up. A lot of sliding about in the start of sector 3 though, and there you go, it's being held up. This is going to be difficult, and if Gary can hook it up together around the rest of the lap, he could get a much better sector 3 here. That's going to be a 14.8. Wow.
14.8. That's a phenomenal lap. But like you say, Gary, if Gary can find a time, he's 400s down in sector 1. That is the opposite of what Gary Gale wants to do. He's now got sector 2 to try and make up any sort of time, and as well as using the advantage he already has in sector 3, plus the dirty air from what Alfred got to get that 14.8. So he has the opportunity to try and take pole position. But is there going to be the opportunity? Is Gary going to seize the opportunity, go through sector 2 now? He is currently 2 tenths up. He's got another couple tenths to gain, but if he can make it work through here, it gets really rinsing the car of every ounce of speed as we go through sector 3. Now he's invalidated. He's invalidated. He's got one more opportunity at a lap, but
he hasn't got enough.
He hasn't got enough.
He hasn't got enough ERS. He was 3 tenths quicker. Oh, Gary. He could have. Oh, if he didn't do that, he could have done it, because he backed off. After he'd done that, he'd backed off. Just imagine what could have been.
What could have been? Oh, that is gutting for Gary. And now we're going to have to turn our attention to someone who might be able to take second place off of Gary. Is Formula Leon. He's going down towards turn 1 as the Alpine 15.6. He needs to gain 4 tenths to overcome the RB, 8 tenths to overcome the Sauber. Can Leon do what is right? The current second place man in the championship looks to try and topple a couple of his rivals. So he's already a 10th up in sector 1, now going through sector 2 of turn 4 and turn 5 around turn 6, which is kind of like a double apex corner, but at the same time don't really use them as much. But now you can go through 7, 8, 9, and just got to keep the car planted as possible. Make sure it sticks to the road to maximise your time gain as we go up towards sector 3. He's 4 tenths up. Another 4 tenths he can gain. He needs to gain to catch Alfred, but 4 tenths on Gary, that could be enough if he maintains that over sector 3. We're going to go round the final couple corners, through the final braking point, round the final corner, bit twitchy on the exit, rounding that final corner now, up towards the line of 15-1, puts himself P2. 3 tenths behind Alfred, but a solid enough lap nonetheless. Funny Wave Band currently invalidated. Continental Solar currently invalidated. We've got Burl currently on a lap. J Hydronics currently on a lap. 800s up for Burl in sector 1. Through sector 2 now.
2.5
goes to Sublet. Yeah, 2.5 for Hydronics. So we're going to stay on, and Bell's invalidated. So it's now just J Hydronics left to set a lap time. As we go through the S's now, can the Ferrari keep it in the white lines? Just about. We've seen this man take 2 second places in a row this season. Can we see the Ferrari put himself up the order once again? 3 tenths up. Doesn't use all that exit curb. He doesn't have quite the confidence there. As we go into sector 3 now, can Hydronics do enough? No, he's invalidated. Oh, we spoke about this at the start of the stream about that right-hander. You got to be careful of the entry. You can't go over that white line too much. A 16.836 he has to settle with, and a P9 he will start the race with. Gutting for the Ferrari.
That was a lot of time for Hydronics to find there. Is setting himself up too much to do in sector 3, but it wasn't to be. And if they'd put that lap in, that would have been about 7th place. So they haven't lost out too much. I'm sure they're not going to be overly happy with that, but that means they've got more positions they can gain in the race, and just sure that'll be a bit more of an achievement for them. But yeah, looks like all of the drivers are now completed. So here's the grid.
Yeah, so we've got Alfred on pole, head of Formula Leon, Gary Gator, Funny Wave Band, Burl, Extreme Enigma, Constant Solar, Soloscan, J Hydronics, and Passive Zeus are our top 10. March Meister in P11, and if Alex Carragher and who was it else that was joining? I can't remember now. Smoko Bot managed to join. We will have them in 12th and 13th. But that is qualifying over. We're going to take a little bit of break until we get started for the formation lap. And we'll be back in just a brief moment. Won't be long.
fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the Mexican Grand Prix, the Mystery Grand Prix, I should say, sorry, for tonight's action. We're about to get ready for our 50% race around here. Just complete the formation lap. The front row is Alfred ahead of Formula Leon, with Gary Gator and Funny Wayban on the second row. Bell and Extreme Enigma on the third. The championship leader is in P12. We've got an exciting 36 lap race ahead of us as we go to 5 red lights, and it is go, go, go for Neo Racing League Division. Alfred, as it's a decent start from Formula Leon. Not the best of starts for Alfred as we go into turn 1, but Alfred gets a better second phase before here comes Gary Gator, because he's going to go to the inside to try and attack Formula Leon, but he can't quite get the straight on speed as Formula Leon uses that extra bit of ERS he might have to try and go up the inside of Alfred into turn 1. Tries to make the move stick through turn 2. Sticks his nose in for turn 3. Alfred, though, unfazed, keeps the lead as we go through towards the end of sector 1. Meanwhile, Gary Gator is going to try and have a little look at Formula Leon, but cannot quite do so as he dives it late to make the move on the Formula Leon, put him offline as we go into the second part of the chicane. He can't quite manage it there as Funny Wayban now goes up the inside into the double right-hander as we go through sector 2 now, through to the S's as we go, and for Gary Gator just about manages to defend it, but the time they are losing to Alfred and Formula Leon was becoming a little bit more drastic there as Burl is trying to find his way by on the hard compound tyres against Funny Wayban now. It's kind of like a Constantina effect, really, as Burl goes up the inside, try and make the move stick, forces Funny Wayban out wide. Funny Wayban keeps the position. Burl dives it up the inside in the hairpin, almost makes the move stick, but just about has to back out of that one as Funny Wayban gets a better exit.
Breathe for a minute, because I don't think he breathed at all for that whole lap. Constant Soda now getting the slipstream from Bell, going up, looking up towards the inside. He's going to have DRS straight away. No, he's not, because they haven't been through the detection zone yet. And here's the Ferrari going up the inside. J Hydronics, they're 3 wide into turn 1. No, they're not, because Bell's had to bail out of that one. But then Bell goes for the cutback move on the McLaren, cuts the inside of the McLaren, and he's spun, hasn't he? Yeah, half spin onto the grass, and then he's lost out on 3 positions. Alex Carragher into 7th.
Yeah, an exit run from Alex Carragher. There's a bit of contact there between the McLaren Solar and the Sauber of Burl that sent the Mystery Machine spinning about halfway around as we go through the exit of turn 3. But now Burl is in P8. He continues on, hopefully, without any sort of damage. But Formula Leon has put himself back into DRS range briefly against Alfred. He's going to be able to use that potentially as we go through the DRS detection zone. He was inside that DRS of Alfred. Can he get those extra few thousandths to stay inside it? But when we go down that very, very long main straight with that 1 mile long DRS zone, we're going to go into the final corner. I think he might have just briefly clipped in there, but it's going to be very tight. Butterfield is beginning to spread out Alfred's fast lap, then followed by Formula Leon. It is going to be a very tight race at the front, but Formula Leon could not quite get the DRS. Alfred looks to be trying to save up that little bit more in comparison to the Alpine.
Yeah, it's really crucial that DRS zone, because it gives you the first DRS detection, because it gives you the first 2 DRS zones around the track, and that's going to be costly for Formula Leon not getting into it at that point.
Yeah, meanwhile, the McLaren of Constantine is having to defend from it was attacking J Hydronics. He got back by via the DRS, and now the McLaren is going to try and use the second phase of that DRS down towards turn 4 to try and maintain that position of P5, but they've lost a significant amount of time to his teammate in the other papaya car, Funny Wayban. We're going to continue on through the lap now, and the gaps at the front have spread out a little bit, but Funny Wayban is only within a 7/10 region of Gary Gator. He'll be trying desperately to wear down Gary as the race goes on.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers are going to be hammering their ERS right now to try and keep up with cars ahead, but they've got to be careful not to run out of it when it's going to be most crucial. And why is that a yellow flag? It looks like the Mercedes for some reason. I can't see any reason why, but maybe a spin in sector 2, maybe a little bit of dirty air hanging in there. But so we're going to go back to the battle at the front. We've got Formula Leon's got no DRS. Funny Waveband is in DRS of Gary Gator, which is going to put him a little bit closer. Not going to have any opportunities in this first DRS zone up into turn 1, but there might be some opportunities up into turn 4.
Yeah, there very much might be opportunities there for the McLaren, but also there's opportunities arising there for J Hydronics and Alex Carragher as they continue to fight Constant Solar. Alex Carragher, though, right on the back there of J Hydronics as Funny Way Band sticks behind Gary Gator for P3 and P4, but the Ferrari unable to do anything against his teammate who has the DRS against Soda. A very, very tight battle between the two. His damage though for Alex Carragher is crucial right now.
Sorry, I made a little bit of a noise there because we had Funny Wave Band being pushed off the circuit by Gary Gator. I can't guarantee that is what happened, but that's what it looked like on my screen. And then we had Funny Wave Band coming back onto the track and Gary Gator nearly being spun out into the wall. So it's going to get a bit feisty between these two. And there's only 4/10 between them coming up into the DRS detection point.
Yeah, it's going to get even more feisty now. Gary having feisty battles with various drivers throughout his time in Neo Racing League. Big oversteer there, big snap on the exit for the RB. It's now going to allow Funny Wave Band to get the DRS, get the slipstream, get alongside before we even open the DRS, and he flies by the RB as the RB now tries to stick it along the inside once more, but cannot quite do anything. Yes, he can. He's up the inside into turn 1, sticks it into turn 2, can't quite get keep it around the outside there. He's now got to stick behind Funny Way Man, who has the DRS once more as we go up towards turn 4. And unfortunately for the RB, that one big costly error certainly cost him the final podium spot at the time being.
Contact between the Ferraris. Alex Carragher has just gone into the back of his teammate. The cardinal sin of racing with your teammate. That is J Hydronics spinning back into 10th position. That's costly. I was just about to come over and say, is there going to be a little bit of team orders here? But it doesn't matter because Alex Carragher has dealt with his teammate in another way.
He's decided team orders were not needed and decided he wanted his own team. He decided to order J Hydronics off the road. So we're going to continue on now with the Alex Carragher, this has allowed Burl to get by both the Ferraris and Sluzcon to start attacking the Ferrari in front of him. But Alex Carragher, with the damage, isn't making quite a lot of progress right now. He's currently was quite stuck behind his teammate, and now he's got the Red Bull right up his gearbox.
We've got the fight with Gary Gator and what is called Funny Wave Band into turn 1 again. And it looks like Gary's been able to get past under DRS, and he's going to have the DRS to help him defend into turn 4.
Yeah, now we're going to see Funny Wave Band try and attack back against Gary Gator as he goes up the inside, tries to make the move, stick contact between the two. Funny Wave Band's round, Gary Gator continues on, but the McLaren is rounded down to P7. Two sets of contact in 2 laps, the same corner. It is all kicking off at the Mexican Grand Prix, and now the McLaren has all this work to do to get another couple positions back up, but that's a lot of work around the circuit that is very difficult to overtake at times.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a silly move there from Funny Wave Band. You could see the defense that Gary was going for, and yeah, it was a little bit late, I think, on the brakes, but we will see, because I'm sure that one's going to end up with the stewards later this evening, but we'll see what happens and comes off that one. We've got a few drivers having some real issues around sector 2. Passive Zeus has had another spin, and Extreme Enigma has just had a spin there and is really struggling with grip in sector 3. So I think we're going to see a few drivers come in for quite a few pit stops today.
A rare overtake happened into sector 3. There is we see Alex Carragher trying to go for a move on Soda, but Soda quickly uses his defense to go for an attack on Burl as Burl looks to try, who just got by Soda on the entry into sector 3. A rare occasion. It may have been a mistake from the McLaren, but he's now going to have to do a bit of defending against the Ferrari, who is trying to make a move around the outside, up the inside, going 3 wide into the corner. Contact between the Sauber and the McLaren, bit more contact has allowed Alex Carragher to get alongside the midstream team, but the Ferrari is going to try and make the move. Bell up the inside, contact again. We're 2 by 2 like it's Noah's Ark as we go down towards the edges. Bell comes out in P4, P5 for Constant Soda. Funny Wave Band drives off the circuit as he goes side by side with Alex Carragher. They continue going side by side as he rejoins the circuit. He takes the position though. That one might be looked at by the stewards. It's actually then back by due to the illegal overtake. And with that way, he continues on. Meanwhile, Bell and Soda side by side as we go into Sector 3, into where the stadium section is. As Bell manages to defend that one against, take that one back against Soda, who's while Soda's on the mediums. Bell is on the hard. The medium runner of Soda is beginning to struggle. That's allowed Bell to get away on the exit down towards the main straight. DRS though for the McLaren, DRS for the Ferrari, and the McLaren behind him. It's going to be side by side action once more for the Scuderia and the Papaya car as we go into turn 1. But Soda around the outside trying to defend against the Ferrari, but he can't quite do as the Ferrari can't quite defend attack. Sorry, as Alex Carragher has to settle back in for P5. Funny wave ban. It's all over the back of the Scuderia now. He can't do anything as he goes for another move up the inside, trying to make the move stick once more that he tried on Gary Gator. He can't quite do it this time, but on Alex Carragher, but he continues on in a better state than what he did against the RB. But what a few laps of chaotic battling, but epic fighting nonetheless.
Yeah, they've calmed down a little bit now, but there's still opportunities here for all 5 of these drivers as the Red Bull has now joined the party. I will say, Alex is doing an incredible job with that wing damage, just to keep himself in the picture enough up into this pit stop.
Yeah, he's done an excellent job, and I think that's really going to... it might damage his tyres now, but it will certainly help him later on when it comes to at least sticking with the rest of the pack. A couple of drivers have made pit stops, namely Gary Gator has done so. I believe Passive Zeus has also done so. But we're going to see some more battling now between these front runners as Funny Wayban looks to have to defend against the Red Bull of Slazcon. Bob McLaren, of course, Soda tries to attack Burl. Slazcon has a little look up the inside but can't quite do anything at this time. We're going to go down towards turn 4 now. You see Alfred lead the way by a 3.5 second margin over Formula Leon. Burl, though, has everything to do in this defence against Soda and Alex Carragher and Funny Waveman and Slazcon in this 5-way fight. Looks like it could just go and turn chaotic again at any time.
Yeah, we can take a little bit of a breather for a minute. One thing that's interesting to see that I think we've both missed, Gary's coming for his pit stop. He's about 28 seconds behind the lead at the moment, but he's got a lot of clear air. So with some fresh tyres, it's going to be a clear 2 stop for Gary if he's going into the pits now. So it could put him out of position, I think a little bit, but it could also put him in a really good position later on. Alex Carragher running wide at the end of sector 2 there, clearly struggling a little bit with tyre wear without having that left-hand side of his front wing. Sorry, right-hand side of the front wing. And then into the pits comes Soda. He's coming into the pits and pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He looked like he was struggling with his tyres at this stage. And Alex Carragher managed to continue on now with a bit more clean air in front of him. Yes, he's got a bit of a gap to Burl, but he also got the DRS off Soda from the DRS detection zone being just before that. So Alex is now right within DRS of Burl when it comes around to it later on when the next DRS detection zone comes along for him. The Ferrari, though, showing decent pace despite the damage, but he really might want to get rid of that front wing and put a new one on it. It might cost him a couple of seconds in the pit lane, but it might help his pace later on. We'll see whether that is the case or if it's just simply dirty air. Alex Carragher, though, struggling through this phase of the circuit because Burl on the hard compound tyres, his hards might start coming into their own now in comparison to the mediums, which are certainly fading off for some drivers. We go through the S's and Burl just looks to open up that gap that little bit more on the Ferrari, and he's broken DRS, and that is the crucial thing for the Ferrari.
Was Alex inside of Bell's DRS, or did he get DRS off of Soda the last lap? He
got DRS off of Soda, but he also got within DRS of Burl briefly of like 6/10.
Okay, so the other thing for Alex right now is because he's got a bit of clear air, he might as well use it because he knows he's going to be in the dirty air of Soda anyway. So if he thinks he can stretch it a little bit, might as well use that pace now.
Yeah, definitely needs to, because at the moment that it could potentially use it as an overcut, but it's not been the best use on the games, but in terms of short term. But long term on the games, if you have a significant overcut on someone, the tyre deficit could certainly swing back in your favour. If you're trying to do a one stop, then you've just got to try and maintain that gap to the two stoppers as long as possible. But it's all to play for, really, because it depends on your tyre degradation and how you run your race. You could be very aggressive on your tyres, you could be very light on your tyres. What sort of tyre preservation would you sort of prefer, Stig, in this sort of situation? Would you try and preserve your tyres to go for that one stop, or would you just go for the two and go all out?
This track, probably a two stop. That's another 3 second penalty for Soda. They need to be a bit more careful of these track limits. You want to look after your tyres around this track, but at the same time, you want as much pace as possible. Sector 2 kills the tyres here, so I'd probably go two stop, to be honest. What I was going to come in and say is that Gary, I mentioned probably about 4 or 5 laps ago now, it was about a 28-second gap to the leader. He now has a 23 gap. He's nearly pulled himself back into, in fact, he's just on a fastest lap. He's nearly pulled himself back into a pit stop gap to the leader of Alfred. So Alfred is probably going to be on a one stop with how he's pushing his tyres right now, and he's got the pace to do it. He's got a nice gap to Formula Leon, 5 seconds behind. Gary is going to be on a two stop, but can he use the pace, and can he do something to put himself back on that podium?
He could absolutely do so, but it's also going to be the case of if his strategy does not work, because he pitted one of the first people to pit, bearing in mind. So if you're on the pitting that early, the tyre offset greatly goes against you later on in the race. But he must have been pushing his tyres significantly harder than what the likes of some of these drivers, like Alex Carragher, who's also on mediums, Formula Leon, Alfred, because they're all going, what is 4 or 5 laps longer now? So whether they're all doing different strategies, maybe the freeze stop was in play. We've got 36 laps in this race, and what, he pitted on lap 8, lap 9? Did Gary?
Yep, lap 7.
Lap 7. So he must be doing some sort of maybe a freeze stop, if anything. Like we say, the tyre deck is quite significant around in, like, particularly sector 2 of the S's. So could that be a play for some of them?
I mean, it could be. I think that'd be three stop is a big risk. There's so much can go wrong in a three stop, and you're pulling in the softs at that point, and the softs won't go for very long at all. So unless you're about 5 seconds quicker on the softs, you're not really going to want to use them. Gary is now 20 seconds behind the race leader. I think he's now pulled himself within that. Another 3 second penalty for Soda. I think he's on 9 now. I think he's pulled himself within that window, definitely, because he's at 19 seconds now. Well, 19.6. He's just on the fastest sector 1, so he's pushing.
Yeah, so Gary is looking to try and just reeling at Alfred. He's good. He obviously felt he had to do something different in comparison to Alfred's pace at this time, because he must have felt he's got to try something and try and pull him in another way, and he feels like this is the opportunity. He might also be a bit of an unknown quantity in turn against Alfred later on as Formula Leon comes into the pits. Alfred might not be particularly looking at him now, seeing that he pitted early, so when Gary gets up there later on, it could come as a surprise to the Sauber, who is probably managing this race a bit more, just trying to manage his tyres and see how his race goes, where he's not having to push and not having to fight other people.
Yeah, let's have a look and see where Formula Leon comes out behind. He's about 8 seconds behind. So Gary's got a good gap on Formula Leon. Has he got enough of a pace to do anything about Alfred? Oh, and goes wide. Alex Carragher into turn 6, I think that is. And Gary Gator on those fresher hard tyres and full front wing just goes around the outside.
Yeah, he made that look like he was taking candy from a baby. But at the moment, Gary is really within about 4 seconds inside of Alfred's pit window, if Formula Leon's pits is anything to go by. I don't know if he had any sort of front wing change or slow stop or whatever. He didn't.
He had a 2.2 second stop, so it's a fairly quick stop. No front wing change. In fact, that was no, it's not. I was going to say it's the fastest stop of the race. It isn't. The fastest stop of the race goes to Ferrari, J Hydronics.
Oh, lovely. What time did they do?
2.2.
Oh, okay, so there you go. So at the moment, Gary will take the lead of the race provisionally on once he gets past Burl, who's on those hard tyres for a lot longer. Has started this race on the hard tyres. He's looking to go long on them as he goes around the outside into the first turn. Burl drops down to P2. Gary up to P1 now on track. He's got a 5.7 second gap now to Alfred, as the Sauber has now got a bit of work to do against the RB, and he's probably thinking, how is this fella got in front of me? He was miles back and so many laps to go. And now Alfred has got to try and reel in that RB. I don't know what tyres he's gone on to. He's gone on to hard. He's got 3 second time penalty. That it could be race changing for the Sauber if that comes into effect later on in the race. If he cannot stop Gary from being anywhere near him later on, and especially only being halfway through the race, he could easily pick up another.
In fact, what's slightly more interesting is the fact that Formula Leon is only DRS. It's just on the fastest sector 2. Formula Leon's going to be a big threat here into turn 1, I reckon, if he can get back within DRS, and I think he just has. So that's going to be a interesting fight, because Alfred really struggled on that lap there, and a 17.6 from Formula Leon. So this could get a bit interesting. Yeah, that undercut has really helped Formula Leon there.
Yeah, it certainly has. Are they both on hards? Yeah, they're both on hards. So,
yep, both on hards.
They're also on the same tyre as Gary, who's been on that tyre for a number of laps now. But
8 laps.
8 laps. So that tyre offset will certainly come into effect as the race goes on. But Alfred has crucially got the slipstream and toe off of Burl, who lets him by quite nicely. And maybe Burl will be looking to hold up Formula Leon quite nicely here, because
that's
if he can,
really horrible place.
That's a horrible place. And he's going to, as the Alpine tries to get by, he's going to try and use his ERS, use that extra grip he has, and he goes around the outside into the S's. He makes the move stick, and Formula Leon back up the P3. He's now only lost about half a second there, but that half a second could be crucial to this race if Alfred can now pull a gap without Formula Leon having the DRS.
Put him out, yeah, he put him outside that DRS. That's what he needed. Do you want some other news?
Go for it.
Guess who's got another penalty?
Oh, are you going to say Constant Soda?
I am going to say Constant Soda because he's on 12 seconds now. Do you want to know who else is on 12 seconds?
Who else?
The Red Bull of Slush Car.
Oh, I mean, lads,
So,
it's not lads. It's not a try and get as many penalties as the lap counter here. So can we try not to get any more penalties, please? Because otherwise you'll end up a bit further down the grid. Bell comes into the pit lane.
Penalty for speeding the pit lane. Constant Soda.
As he comes into the pits and retires.
He's just retired from the session.
Oh, that's tough.
Soda.
That's tough. Poor man. Oh well, we carry on.
It's hard to do on this game, I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah. I mean, you've had your fair share of experiences,
I've had my
haven't
fair share on this game.
Oh yeah, you can't. That 10 second is actually brutal, to be fair, because I thought some pit lanes are so deceivingly difficult. But oh well. Unfortunate Soda, he's our first retirement from the race, but we've got a battle for the leads brewing here. We've got Alfred and Gary Gator, but Gary kind of just lets Alfred go there. That's interesting. Alfred goes wide.
Think why he's done it. Think why he's done it.
DRS.
That's not his important DRS zone. This is the important DRS zone.
Oh, that might be smart there for the RB, but he's going to have less traction on the exit.
No, he hasn't.
Has he? He's struggling with traction.
He has.
He has got
less traction, but he's got DRS. That was a really smart play. Can he use this now to just stay with them?
Yeah, that's the question. Can he use it to try and get back by? That DRS is ridiculously powerful when he's right using it. He's got 3 or 4 attempts now, but he's now going to struggle a little bit more with the traction throughout the next couple of corners and throughout Sector 2. Maybe it's maybe stopped Alfred from gaining extra attempts later on, but it's at least put him in that DRS and helped him towards that battle with Alfred later on. That was actually quite a smart move. I was quite surprised at first, but actually it could be one of the best ideas so far, because he knows that there's no point intentionally fighting him and giving him help down that main straight, and that is perfect for Gary in the same sense.
Yeah, it's probably helped him by about half, I don't know, 4/10 this lap on probably where he probably was before. So he's out of DRS now, but Formula Leon isn't quite close enough for him to do the same thing this time round. But maybe next lap we'll see the same strategy come in from Gary Gator.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Alfred is currently pulling away, but he's got that 3-second time penalty, and that again could come crucial later on if when Gary comes into the pit lane again. He's got to at some point. He will use that new tyres to recatch Alfred and Formula Leon. But Formula Leon unable to do anything into turn 1, and Gary just sitting out in front of him. 2.5 seconds is now the gap between Alfred and Gary Gator, and Alfred is really putting the metal down, because at the moment Gary is holding up Formula Leon and he's not going to go by him. That is an interesting move, considering, because at the moment he's now falling out of that penalty window from Alfred.
Yeah, but Gary's going to defend this one a little bit more, because I think that Gary's feeling it's more likely for him to get P2 than it is P1. So is he trying to hold up his rival of Formula Leon so that it helps him later in the race? Because if he lets Formula Leon go, they can go and fight for the lead, potentially. See, look, he's doing the same service this time, because he's going to have the DRS again into turn 1 and to turn 4. And it's going to help him out in the long run. But he's also caused Formula Leon to be 1.2 seconds slower than his rival this lap of Alfred. So that's almost put him out of the race lead.
Yeah, and that's actually crucial, because at the moment, the 3-second time penalty for Alfred is kind of null and void at the moment. The half a second gap between him and Formula Leon, into a 3.5 second gap, meaning that penalty will not have the effect. As Gary goes up the inside into turn 1, he decides he's going to fight this one and just hold up Formula Leon that much more. Alfred is now further and further away. Maybe he thinks just go for P2, because at the moment Alfred's pace is much quicker than his.
Yeah, but we've spoken about this before. Pick your battles, and this is the battle that Gary's picked.
Yeah, he could have decided that, you know what, Formula Leon is my battle today. Alfred was not. There's no point fighting him to any extent. And at the moment, Alfred is getting away by more and more of a margin per lap because of Gary's tyre falling off.
Well, let's see what happens into this braking zone down here. And no, Formula Leon hasn't attacked this time around. He's got used to Gary's gains. He's like, I'm not going to play that now. And he's going to just back off a little bit and just wait for that DRS zone into turn 1, because he knows it will just get past, and then he needs to go on to the back of Alfred if there is anything left there.
Yeah, at the moment, is there the opportunity for Formula Leon to try and get by and then just try and pull away? There's a lot of weeping down that straight, isn't there? As we go down towards turn 1, Gary has to concede. Formula Leon up to P2. Gary may be trying to use a slipstream and extra ERS he probably does have over Formula Leon to get back by into turn 4, but the DRS is in the favour of the Alpine. So can Gary do anything, or is he just going to have to sit behind? He's going to have to sit behind here as we continue on through into sector 2. Formula Leon, Gary Gator are now the order for them too.
Yeah, I mean, look at the time that Formula Leon has now to Alfred. He's 2.3 seconds outside of that penalty window. That's quite a big margin to make. But let's see what happens on this next couple of laps and see if Leon can do anything about that lap time. I think that's going to be a cool order, but it's not impossible.
It would help if Alfred gets any more penalties, though, because if Alfred does, he's already got 1 penalty. I think he's gone wide another occasion as well, so at least might be on another warning. So if he gets to another 2 by the end of this race, it could end up being a 6-second penalty, and it could throw him right back in it. Gary's got 3 seconds, 10 seconds on speeding.
10 seconds.
As another person with a 10-second penalty, 13 seconds in basically the space of corner. I wonder if that 3 second came because he went across the white line. And that is very unfortunate for the RB, who's all of a sudden just thrown his race into disarray as Marchmeister comes into the pits as well. And that has completely shuffled his race into another whole set of problems now, because he's got to get past 3 drivers and then build a 13-second gap.
Yeah, that's really not what Gary was hoping for there, was he? That's a real shame. But can you imagine if he could build a 13-second gap on Formula Leon?
Oh, that could be an interesting one. But now he's got to. It depends if Leon decides to pit again, because if he did go quite far into the race anyway, but it's still a long distance, so maybe
He's got to take tyres a long way.
I mean, he did pit what, lap 14, lap 15, something like that.
Yep.
So he can
22 laps on
Yeah.
those hard tyres.
Yeah,
Well, let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's see whether those hards can keep up with the performance. Alex Carragher is currently trying to keep Burl out of his DRS, but he's becoming a taller and taller order. But Alex Carragher does have a full front wing now. The Ferrari finally getting that front wing fixed after probably since about lap 1 or 2 he's had that damage. He's now going to try and stick it ahead of Burl and try and catch the final podium spot of Funny Wave Band at this time. Meanwhile, Gary Gator is all over the back of Burl. Here comes Gary, certainly fired up after getting those penalties. He's now going to go for P5. He's now going to go 1.1 second gap to Alex Carragher to go attack him for P4. It's now or never for the RP, really, because he's got really not much. He's got points to lose, but at the moment he is going to be very angry, and that 13-second gap penalty could become costly later on. We are on lap 23 of 36 of the Mexican Grand Prix. We have Alfred leading away ahead of Formula Leon, Funny Wave Band in P3, Alex Carragher in P4, Gary Gator in P5, Burl really in P6, and then Sluzcar, Marchmeister, Extreme Enigma, and J Hydronics ran at top 10. Passive Zeus has left the session, I believe, as well, since his spins, so he will be P11 and not finishing at the moment. But at the moment, as things stand, Alfred's got a comfortable lead now, 6.3. So
yeah, I mean that's a pretty comfortable lead that Alfred can have. And you mentioned a while ago about will Alfred get another penalty? He's not going to really need to push, so you'd like to think he wouldn't push those limits too much.
Yeah, you would hope he would. I hope he wouldn't if you were him, but you don't know what a driver's like. They probably quite like. They want to finish the race as fast as possible and have such a gap as possible. If I'm in his position, I'd be taking it a bit easier, to be honest. A win to win at the end of the day for me. Yes, you want to keep that gap to 3 seconds, but it's not the end of the world. There's going to be a move between Funny Wave and Gary Gator. Gary Gator tried spotting Paley Ski. Funny Wave and attempted to do a number of laps ago. Contact again between the two.
Contact.
Oh my god, these two are absolutely everywhere. As Funny Wave and Gary Gator continue to have contact, that's allowed Alex Carragher through into P4 and P3 on track at this thing stand due to penalties. And Funny Wave Band has dropped down to P5. He is going to be livid with Gary. 10-second penalty for corner cutting, gaining a place.
I don't think that was corner cutting, I'll be honest.
I don't think it was.
Might have been leaving the track and gaining an advantage. I think that one will probably end up with the stewards as well. Because I think from the view that I had, I think that Funny Wave Band may have pushed Gary wide, but that is for the stewards to decide if it ends up with them later on.
It depends on what sort of rule book they're looking at, really, because if we're looking at the head of the apex corner, then it'll probably be Gary with another penalty. If we're looking at that, knowing what the real life stewards are like, but we'll see whether they go for that or they go with their own personal rule book and how they think racing will go. Alex Carragher, though, is now on the back. He's now on the back of Gary Gator by half a second. He's using that DRS to his advantage to try and stick with the RB and use the RB wisely to maybe try and catch his championship rival Formula Leon and the other one in Alfred. At the moment, no safety cars as things stand, but a massive gap for Alex Carrigo to overcome, or Gary Gator, nonetheless, if either of them want to manage to go after Formula Leon and Alfred.
So since Gary pitted, 3 laps ago, he's gained about 3 seconds. In order for him to get anywhere near the two in front of him, he's just had a big slide out of the second to last corner. In order to gain any kind of time, he needs to be doing about 2.5 seconds a lap quicker. I don't think he's doing that. In fact, I'm going to tell you what he's doing. Give me a second and I'll get back to you.
Okay, cool. So we've got, at the moment, he really, though, penalty-wise, he's really got to think Alex Carrigo is his main target now to beat, because 1.2 seconds gap currently, there's at the moment, 23-second pen. But if we look at it from whether that last penalty gets applied or not, it could only be a 13-second pen. So if you're Gary right now, you need to get a 13-second advantage. Forget about that last one and at least get a 13-second, whether you think the other ones are right or wrong. We'll leave that one to the stewards as well. So so there's 3 penalties there that we've got to think. Hold on, one of them is a 10-second, which for speed in the pit lane, which is probably right, but a 3-second he got for coming into the pit lane for track limits. That one might be looked at, and then you got the other 10-second, which might be looked at. So maybe he just needs to build at least a 10-second advantage, maybe more. It could be a difficult race for Gary, and he could drop down to at least P5, if not more.
So pace for Gary in relation to the cars in front, he's probably doing about 1.2 seconds, 1 second quicker a lap. Cars behind, I didn't work out, but I will have a quick look at now. I don't think he's currently doing enough. He's doing about a 1. He's not even doing a second quicker at the moment than Alex behind. So with the amount of time left, he needs to be doing at least a 1.5 seconds quicker to get a 10.5 second gap. So let's see what happens, because he's now got a bit of clean air. He's been able to just get himself back into into a rhythm. It looks like he's hunkered down a little bit more, but let's see where he ends up.
Yeah. We've got to see where he ends up at the end of the day. And at the moment, as things stand, Alex Carrigo, it depends on the penalties for Gary and whether he finishes there. If he finishes P4, he will finish with 9 points in his lead championship, 109 points. Then it would be Formula Leon on 100 points exactly, just 9 points behind him. Alfred sits on 99 points as things stand. So that would be our 3-way fight for the championship. The only person who might change is Alex Carrigo in the championship lead, and that decides whether he extends or not on his championship, depending on how Gary's penalties come off with both stewards and in terms of time on track.
So how many points does Alex need to take championship lead?
So Alex will have the championship lead as long as he finishes where he is or higher. So Alex currently So at the moment, Alex Carrigo leads the standings, but Alfred and Formula Leon are only 9 and 10 points, maybe 12 and 13 behind them, depending on Gary. So it depends on that, and will be behind Alex at the moment. So it's going to be a very close championship fight between the 3 of them. But Alfred's pace this race has been really second to none.
Yeah, Alfred is he's probably been the most prepared for this race. All the way from pretty much his first lap in qualifying, he's been pretty much stuck to the road, and he's thinking about which taco he wants to have on the podium, I think.
Christ, he's always thinking. He's got what he's going to next think about though. What sort of taco would you have if you were to win a race in Mexico?
Pretty some kind of crispy taco.
Fair enough. So let's stick off this taco talk and let's get back to the racing, I guess. Because at the moment we don't know whether we don't know whether Funny Wayband, because at the moment Funny Wayband currently down in P7. He's recently stopped. Same with Burl, but Burl's currently got a penalty of 3 seconds, 2.4 behind is Funny Wayband, so he will gain that back. But he's got a 8-second margin, sorry, to Marchmeister with just 7 laps to go. Can he catch Marchmeister, who's currently on for P5?
Was that a question of Bell catching?
Funny Wayband, sorry, he's got to catch
Funny
them both.
Wayband.
Because they both got Bell and Marchmeister have got 3-second time penalties, and Funny Wayband does not at the moment.
I reckon Bell can definitely catch March. Waveband might be a little bit not with 6 laps to go.
It's going to be a tall task nonetheless, because what's March tyres on now? March is on 7-lap old hards, so it's not exactly on old hards nonetheless. Yes, he's on the hard compound of tyres, and yes, they're a couple of older than the mediums, but it isn't a significant margin to say if it was Alex Carrago's, Alfred's and Formula Leon 15 and 16-lap old hard, so it's not a significant downturn in pace, but it might affect them, we'll see, as Burl is actually really struggling in comparison to Funny Wayband at the moment, because Funny Wayband is all over the back of the Sauber, 6.4 back to Marchmeister, but Funny Wayband will be desperately looking to get by the Mystery Machine as the McLaren goes to the inside. DRS uses as he uses that down towards turn 1. Burl is trying to use the ERS while Funny Wayband is recharging. As we go into turn 1 now, Burl around the outside of Funny Wayband tries to make the defence, and meanwhile takes it back with the overrun from Funny Wayband. That's excellent stuff from the McLaren, and he keeps his pace up to P6. Very good commitment and very good whereabouts from both drivers to manage to kind of squeeze each other into positions, but at the end of the day, Funny Wayband comes out top. That was excellent racing from the pair of them.
Yeah, it was really good. Funny Wayband there, desperate to prove me wrong, and say, no, Stig, I can actually catch him. Watch this.
And at the moment, he is catching a 5.6-second gap, but he's only got to make it as long as you don't get a penalty, which he which we don't want to jinx him. He might very well do, depending on how many warnings he has. We'll see if the McLaren can manage it to the end. He's got currently either the 5.4 if he gets a penalty, or a 2.4 gap he needs to get if he wants to get marked. If he can get marked on penalties, it's not entirely out of the question.
No, it's not entirely out of the question, but it's not something that you want to necessarily do. He's going to be worrying for the actual position on track.
Yeah, and you certainly want it on track. That's what every driver wants. They don't. Yeah, you can win on penalties or get a position on penalties, but you really want it on track to say I was the better driver at the end of the day. As we go through the first chicane, and Funny Wayband is catching Marchmeister down to nearly 5.3 now. As we draw to the closing laps of this race, it is going to get harder and harder though for Funny Wayband, because he is pushing those tyres ever much more to try and get Marchmeister. But it's also difficult because these tyres on this game do not like being too overly driven, and it does cost you later on if you overheat those tyres. Alex Carrago's got a 3-second tyre penalty, but that won't affect him as things stand. And Funny Wayband gets a 3-second tyre penalty, so the only driver without a penalty is Formula Leon now.
Formula Leon, if you don't get a penalty, you would have deserved to win this race.
3-second time penalty again for Burl. It's very difficult on track limits, this track is, especially when you don't have any sort of practice. So these guys, unfortunately, struggling with that phase, and that could completely change the whole grid, as loads of drivers have varying amounts of penalties.
Let's be honest, knowing a lot of these drivers, the penalties would look the same regardless.
That's true. That's probably true. And at the moment, I'm going to blame it on the fact they had no practice and just, be nice for once.
Hang on. Who's that's got off?
That is... No,
never mind. It's Enigma.
It's Enigma.
Worry.
Oh, you thought it was Alpine. Oh, you thought it was wrong Alpine. Oh, well. We almost got ourselves, not hopes up, but I hoped up for a battle for P2, but oh well, it's not good. That's
Normal service has resumed.
Yep. We might have ourselves a little battle for P5 at the end of the race on track. So, and actually, it's now 3.2 second gap because of Funny Waveband's penalty. So, March currently on for P5 has about 4 laps to defend from the McLaren. That's a tall order, but it's certainly possible. Our producer,
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
our producer, by the way, has said on our taco incident, he said he'd rather have a McDonald's. So,
Well, if you don't want to come Taco Bell, it's fine.
to be fair, I like the chips from Taco Bell. I don't. So I really,
It's good.
they're really good chips.
Taco Bell's surprisingly good.
Yeah, it's surprising. I never had that till a little while ago, and it was like, oh, okay, it's actually better than I expected. But well,
it's quite good.
it's quite a good one. So I don't know why. And he also said earlier on that I did not read, by the way, that he wanted us to play the Mexican F1 theme.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, we can't do that. I'm sorry. It's just, but oh well. So with the race winding down now, we've got Burl, who did come into the pit to get a new set of tyres. He's going to fight J Hydronics now as we go down into turn 4. The Sauber goes up the inside of the Ferrari, makes the move stick quite clearly. He wants to go for fastest lap, I presume, and he's got by the Ferrari with relative ease with the fresh set of soft tyres. But with that in mind, he might actually run into trouble. J Hydronics though, because at the moment Alfred is coming around, and I think if there was a couple more laps, J Hydronics might run into trouble with being lapped. Alex Carragher's got himself another time penalty as Funny Waveband and Marchmeister. Funny Waveband continues to catch Marchmeister. 2 seconds is now the gap between the two of them, and Funny Waveband is just trying everything he possibly can. 1.9 now with 3 laps to go. This could be a very interesting fight as March looks to stop the charge of the McLaren, who's had a lot of battles today and a couple incidents, but he's certainly battled himself back to this position, and he's now got the opportunity to at least finish in the top 5. And it's going to be a very, very difficult one. As Gary's actually spun. Gary's spun. He's got damage. He's got damage from the spin. And now he's back behind Alex Carragher. And at the moment, it's going to be a very difficult thing for him. Okay. I've got to create a new tab. Hold on. But I can't actually do it because I've got to create a new tab, and I've got to move everything over. That would be yeah. I'll have to create a new tab and move the audio over. So, unfortunate, but oh, well, I've got 2 laps to go, and mate. At the moment, Bell goes to a fast lap of 17.5. In comparison to everyone else, I think that would be clear fast lap of the day just because he's gone to soft tyres. Gary just trying to bring it to the end. And Marchmeister and Funny Waveband Lee now is just going to have a battle for P5 with just a lap and a half to go now for them two. Start the final lap for Alfred, but Marchmeister will have to do some defending against Funny Waveband. The Aston Martin looking to get to a very good position for themselves as the founder of the league just tries, and the owner of the league, as Funny Waveband goes very, very wide there, trying to catch the Aston Martin. He's going to have DRS here, but he's going to have to try and gain an 8/10 margin over the Aston Martin. We now go through towards the final corner and starting the final lap of the race for the pair of them. Funny Waveband is going to try and catch Marchmeister, but has his tyres begun to drop off? And we're going to go through the first chicane. Can Marchmeister defend? It's going to be very, very difficult against the McLaren of Funny Wave Band, but he's only got another 2 DRS zones to deal with and a bunch of corners. But we're going to see Funny Wave Band unable to do anything against Marchmeister. Alfred, though, who's done an excellent job from start to finish, comes around the final corner, lights the flag, pretty much victory for the Sauber as he takes victory here in Mexico and puts himself right into the championship fight more than ever. Formula Leon sits P2, Alex Carragher sits in, will come home in 3rd. We're going to now go back to the battle for P5, though, as Gary Gayer will come home 4th on track. But will either of these guys come back and beat him on penalties? Marchmeister tries to defend against Funny Wave Band. Funny Wave Band unable to do anything here as we go through into the stadium section, cuts across that chicane, bit of contact there on the rear end from the McLaren on the Aston Martin, and he goes round the final corner. Marchmeister finishes P4, Funny Wave Band finishes P5, Burl will come in P7 after Gary Gator's penalties and will make him finish P6. J. Hydronics finishes P8, P9 for Sluzcom, and P10 for Extreme Enigma. That race was an interesting one, and now that's put a very, very interesting stamp on the championship battle, with 112 points for Alex Carragher sitting on top of the standings, 12 points clear of Formula Leon, and 13 points clear of Alfred, who's both sit on 100 and 99 points respectively. And this championship fight within the final 5 races of the season just spices up.
It was a bit of an interesting one, wasn't it? It's ups and downs for sure.
Yeah, it certainly has. And yeah, it was a very difficult race for some, a very good race for others. And that is going to be the end of that race. We see Alfred come to the top now. We are going to end the stream there. We see the results there quickly for anyone who wants them. Yeah, fastest lap of the race, but only just for Burl, because Alfred's got a 17.8 and Formula Leon of 17.6. So the top 3 did very close times to Burl, despite being on the harder compound tyres. Well, we're going to end the stream now. Alfred, congratulations, victory. Congratulations on our podium sitters. I'm going to end the stream there.